still the best quarterback. To me, still the best team in the NFL. And with that, we go to Florida via the Coward Global Satellite Network. A guy with 3 rings from the Patriots, Charlie Weis. Charlie, you watched it last night. You've gone down to Miami a few times when you were a Patriot assistant. Sometimes the Dolphins bite back. What did you make of last night?
Well, it reminded me so much of 2004 in December. I had just taken the Notre Dame job, and I was still the offensive coordinator for the Pats. And we went down there, and Tommy threw 4 picks, and we ended up losing the game. One was backed up in our own end zone. He threw one run at Jason Taylor. I mean, it was awful. And last night, that felt the same way. I was at the game. I mean, it just, the team from the first quarter, right from the beginning of the game, just felt flat. I mean, they had 2 yards of offense in the first quarter. I mean, they couldn't get a first down. They didn't convert a third down conversion the whole night. I mean, it was just one of those games where, and then Jay Cutler on top of everything else, instead of his normal throwing 5-yard passes all night, is throwing the ball down the field with accuracy. I mean, the score was not indicative of how bad that game actually was.
Miami controlled the game. It's remarkable it was only 27-20. When you get into games like that, Charlie, and I always call it a burn the tape game. Big Ben threw 5 picks this year in a game. The Vikings got beat at home by Detroit, 3 fumbles. You get into these games once in a while. You had them at Notre Dame, you have them at New England, and something's not clicking. The team's not motivated. Your game plan's not in sync. What do you do as a coach how do you try to get out of a game like that if you're the OC?
Well, first of all, you try to get it in a position to at least where you can get it to a 1-score game. And it was a good decision by Bill at the end of the game to kick the field goal. After they had been down on the 1-yard line, then got backed up, kicked the field goal to get it a 1-score game. Hey, you kick an onside kick. The percentages are not very high that you're going to get it. But just the fact that they got it to a 1-score game and we're kicking an onside kick trying to get the ball back, let me tell you, they get the ball back with 30 seconds to go in the game, down by 1 score. Who's betting against Tommy scoring a touchdown in that situation?
So Pittsburgh looks great. I was saying the other day, he's not as polished as Brady. He's not as smart as Manning. He's not as likable as Brett Favre. But Big Ben's a rock star. He talked about retirement. He looks better now than ever in the last month. When you watch Big Ben, what do you like about him? What concerns you if you were his offensive coordinator?
What I like the most about him, well, first of all, you can't get him on the ground. I mean, he's a big man, and he likes to move from the pocket. And the thing I know in New England, the defensive coordinator, the defensive staff always preferred to keep Ben in the pocket rather than letting him get out of the pocket. Because out of the pocket, the kid could make any throw anywhere. He could throw it any distance he had to throw it, whether it was 80 yards or 8 yards, when he moved from the pocket. So the whole key was to try to keep him in the pocket and try to frustrate him.
I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. If you were coaching that team, if I was Mike McCarthy, I'd say, listen, Aaron, you tell me if you want to play. Then I'd go to the doctors and say, doctors, do you think he can play? I'm not sure as a head coach I'd want to make that decision. If you were the coach of the Packers, how would you treat Aaron Rodgers coming back right now?
Well, with the 2 teams, they got 3 games left.
Yeah.
But the first 2 teams they got coming up are Carolina and Minnesota.
Yes.
And both of those defenses are pretty salty. And hey, look if the doctors clear him, and he wants to play, you play him. I mean, it's pro football. That's the way it is. If the doctors come to you and say this kid could play, okay, then you go ahead and play him. I would be concerned because he is the franchise, and could they possibly make the playoffs? Yeah, they have an outside chance of making the playoffs. I wouldn't be betting on it, but they have an outside chance of making the playoffs. But that being said, this is your biggest commodity that you have, and after all these games sitting out, to come in versus pretty strong defenses like Carolina and Minnesota, followed up by Detroit in the hole, I'd be concerned.
Yeah, Charlie Weis is joining us, 3 Super Bowl rings, former Notre Dame head coach. When I you've dealt with different quarterbacks, and now it seems like more quarterbacks run. Phillip Rivers is old school. Tommy's old school. Carson Wentz and Andrew Luck are a little new school, and they're getting hurt. When I show a list, Charlie, of the guys not hurt this year, it's Goff, it's Brady, it's Flacco, it's Eli, it's guys that don't run, and the list of guys hurt are all runners. When you were at Notre Dame, knowing that there are more kids that can run, do you want quarterbacks leaving the pocket? What do you do in the recruiting trail? What do you do?
No, I'm a pocket guy. There's one guy who breaks the mold. I was listening to you before, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that the most unheralded quarterback in the NFL is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has learned how to run the ball but not take hits. I don't know. He's the only one. He's the only one that leaves the pocket or runs zone reads and things like that without taking hits. But the rest of them, okay, they leave the pocket. They dive head first. I mean, they don't even know how to slide. Some of them. Bring in a baseball guy and at least learn how to bring in a baseball guy and learn how to slide feet first. But because those quarterbacks, you can't afford in today's game to lose a starting quarterback for two reasons. One, they give you the best chance of winning, and two, they're too much of your salary cap.
Yeah. Charlie Weis is joining us. I want to give you the AFC playoff picture, and you know these coaches, you know these coordinators. Now, we know Tommy's going to be there. We know Ben's going to be there. Is there a team in the AFC that if you were the Patriots or Steelers, you would really be concerned about?
Well, you mentioned one before, and you let it go when you gave your top 10.
Yeah.
I'd be a little bit concerned with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Why?
I really would be. They're a northern team playing in the South. They are tough as nails on defense. They run the football with power. Okay, if they just get average play out of their quarterback, you can hang in most games with that defense they're playing.
Yeah.
There's similarities with them and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes.
Because the Baltimore Ravens have always known to be good on defense, but they count a little bit too much on the quarterback as far as production on offense. I think that this Jacksonville Jaguar team is a team that, they might not be ready to contend for it all right now, but they're pretty close.
Yeah. Charlie, by the way, when you lose a game, what's Belichick like the week after a loss? Is he really salty? Will it be a bad week for coaches in New England?
You want to know, it's salty all the time. When you win a game, a lot of times you walk in and you feel like you lost by 3 touchdowns. Actually, he's usually a little bit more upbeat on weeks after a defeat because he understands that psychologically beating them down isn't the way to go. When you're beating down players, it's so much easier to beat them down after a win because they're feeling good about themselves. They come into a building. Same with the coaches. You come in and he'll complain about everything that happened in the game, and you'll walk out of there and say, God, it feels like we lost. But after a loss, both with the coaches and the players, he'll be matter of fact now. He'll point out things that happened, but at the end of the day, his biggest job today, after everyone gets a couple hours of rest and gets back in there, coming off of a Monday night road game, followed by another big game against Pittsburgh on the road, so they don't have time to just sleep on this one, no pun intended. His biggest job is psychologically getting everyone out of the tank and getting them ready to go because this game is too big. 3
Super Bowl rings, Charlie Weis. Good seeing you, Coach.
Yeah, miss you. And if I don't talk to you before that, happy holidays to everyone.
All right, you too, Charlie. Good stuff. Coming up next, there is an internet rumor that's gaining steam online.